Hello. So you want to play D&D, but you don't know where to start.
Is this Yellowbird going to tell me about Dungeons and Dragons?
This video isn't a rule video on how to play Dungeons & Dragons. There are plenty of excellent guides out there by prominent YouTubers in the hobby, but how to be in a game. And when I say be in, I mean how to conduct yourself in a positive and proactive manner whilst playing. That'll make the gaming experience fun for everyone. Even though we don't know each other, I say this out of love, as there is an industry of making videos calling out and mocking what role players call problem players. Whilst there are toxic people out there who just want to go full Joker a la The Dark Knight, when playing D&D for the first time, most people, I would assume, who have never played a role-playing game are just fumbling in the dark and making innocent mistakes. Mistakes that can have disastrous effects. So, young Padawan, sit back, relax, and watch me try to explain to you what and what not to do in Dungeons & Dragons. So you want to play Dungeons & Dragons. You've seen the memes, you've heard the legends. Maybe you've watched Stranger Things or listened to Critical Role and thought, hey, I want to cast fireballs and fight dragons too. But before you grab your dice and dive headfirst into a dungeon, let's talk. Because D&D isn't just a game. It's a shared story. And before you step into the world of fantasy, magic and chaos, you should know what kind of world you are stepping into. Dungeons & Dragons is a tabletop role-playing game, aka a TTRPG. What does that mean? It means you and your friends sit down together, make up some characters, and go on an adventure. With the help of a game master who runs the world around you. You can be a noble knight, a shady rogue, a goblin chef who fights with a frying pan, whatever you want. You describe what your character tries to do and roll dice to see what happens. It's a mix of storytelling, improv, and game mechanics. But most importantly, it's collaborative. You're not trying to win, you're trying to tell a cool story together. Session 0 is a chat you have before the game begins. This is where you set expectations, tone, and style. Is the group doing silly goblin shenanigans or grim war drama? Do you fade to black on romance or go full telenovela? What kind of characters are at the table and how do they all fit together? It's also where you talk about what you don't want, lines, boundaries, and safety tools. Yes, we're playing make-believe, but we do it respectfully. The best games don't come from overpowered builds or perfect rolls. They come from moments where players lift each other up, where the barbarian breaks down crying, where the rogue sacrifices themselves for the cleric, where everyone at the table is invested. Because that's what D&D really is, a group of friends making something awesome together. Now sometimes new players fall into traps, not because they're bad people, but because no one told them otherwise. Let's talk about a few stereotypes you might hear about. The main character syndrome player. They think the story revolves around them. They hog the spotlight. They don't care about anyone else's moment. Why? Usually because they're excited or used to solo games. Fix it by remembering we're an ensemble cast, not a one-man show. The power gamer, aka min-maxer. They hyper-optimize their character. Everything is built for damage and efficiency. Story be damned. It comes from love of mechanics and fear of being bad. But here's the thing, playing a weak wizard with stage fright can be way more memorable than the perfect DPS machine. The Edgelord. They brood in the corner, they're dark, mysterious, usually violent. Maybe they refuse to help the party. Maybe they make everyone uncomfortable. Edgy doesn't mean deep. A tragic backstory is great if it leads somewhere meaningful. The metagamer. They use players' knowledge to cheat the story. Oh, I know trolls are weak to fire, but your character has never met one. It breaks immersion. Be the character, not the player holding the monster manual. The murder hobo. They stab every NPC, burn every village, steal from their own team. Their catchphrase, "It's what my character would do." But this game isn't GTA. It's a living world with consequences. And here's the truth. "It's what my character would do" is often used as an excuse to ignore the group. Be creative, be weird, be chaotic, but always be collaborative. You're allowed to say, "I don't think my character would go on this quest," but then say, "Can we come up with a reason they would?" You're allowed to be weird, to be quiet, to play someone who's nothing like you. You're allowed to screw up, to not know all the rules. You're allowed to learn. You don't need to be funny or clever or a voice actor. You just need to be open to the story and kind to the people telling it with you. Dungeons & Dragons is magic, not because of the dragons or the dice or the dungeons, but because of the moments. The moments when your party comes together against impossible odds, the laughter, the heartbreak, the last minute nat 20s, the stories you'll remember for years because you were there. So if you're ready to collaborate, to be vulnerable, to be bold and weird, and part of something bigger than yourself, then yeah, you're ready for D&D.